Thank you for joining today's session. We will be getting started shortly. We do have a lot of folks signed up for today's session, and we want to give everyone a moment to log on and get connected so that we can dive into today's session. I do want to thank you all for joining us today. I am Jasmine Garrett here with the New Jersey Economic Development Authority. Today's session is an informational overview of the New Jersey Innovation Fellows Program, including the program's purpose, eligibility requirements, application process, and key program information. A quick housekeeping note, we do suspect that many questions will be answered in today's presentation. However, you are able to write in questions at any point during the presentation using Zoom's Q&A feature. It is one of your Zoom command options and will allow us to make sure we are able to get back to you and let others see these questions and answers as well. Today's session is being recorded and will be posted on our NJEDA and YouTube pages. The slides and other resources will also be available in the next few days. Now, to get us started with the presentation, I will shift things over to NJEDA's Product Officer of Venture Products, Michelle Martinez. Thank you.
Thanks, Jasmine. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the New Jersey Innovation Fellows Program webinar. My name is Michelle Martinez, Product Officer for Venture Products here at the EDA, and I'm joined with my colleague Milton Ergules, also here as a Program Analyst at the NJEDA. So again, thank you for being here and your interest in the New Jersey Innovation Fellows Program. Today's session will walk through every major part of the program. We'll really cover some major areas, so who the NJEDA is and why we invest in early stage founders, how the New Jersey Innovation Funding works, including award structure and bonuses. We'll talk a little bit more about the competitive scoring criteria, details on the mentorship program, as well as the application process and all the required documents that you'll need to submit. We'll also go through the key dates for the cohort, as well as what's available for funding and where to really find all the program materials that you need. So by the end of this webinar, you really should have a clear understanding of how the program works from start to finish and what you'll need to have a strong and complete application. I just want to reiterate, if you do have any sort of questions, please feel free to use the chat at any point during the presentation and we'll address it. Great. So let's talk a little bit about the NJEDA for everybody who's brand new. The NJEDA works to grow New Jersey's economy and expand equitable access to opportunity. We support high quality job creation, we catalyze investment and really foster an inclusive community development across the state. So we have partnerships that really span local communities, academic institutions, investors, industry leaders, as well as entrepreneurs. Together, we work to really improve the quality of life and drive innovation here in the state, really strengthening the state's long-term competitiveness. Within the work that we do here in economic transformation, we really focus on building the country's most diverse and really dynamic innovation ecosystem, supporting really founders from all backgrounds with access to capital, mentorship, and resources they need to really grow and succeed in their ventures. This is really the foundation of the New Jersey Innovation Fellows Program and why the program really exists. So the New Jersey Innovation Fellows Program supports teams of eligible first-time entrepreneurs with early stage ideas and who are ready to make the transition from ideation to full-time venture building, but who may need the financial stability to take that first step. Historically, this being the most difficult step for first-time founders. So, because of the fact that, becoming a full-time entrepreneur means taking financial risks, early stage support really provides stability and enables founders to pursue opportunities and take risks and really work toward their next milestone. Since its launch in 2023, the New Jersey Innovation Fellows Program has generated strong interest from entrepreneurs across the state. Through the competitive selection process, 27 New Jersey-based innovative businesses have been approved to date. This really represents an award representing $8.8 million in seed capital to founders to leave their full-time employment and focus on their startups here in New Jersey. So the program is funded by a $10 million state appropriation and really requires applicants to demonstrate their entrepreneurial readiness for the opportunity to launch and grow their business idea. Approved teams may be awarded up to $400,000 in startup support to pursue these ventures. In addition to the capital, the program provides mentorship and skill development, as well as opportunities for growth and networking. For Cohort 3, there is currently $2.5 million in funding available. Subject to the availability of funding, up to 6 applications receiving the highest average scores will be recommended for approval by the board and entry into the mentorship program. Depending on funding, a 7th award may be available. Great. So let's break down a little bit about how the award really goes, the award structure and bonus eligibility. So each team is eligible to receive a competitive salary, enabling them to really focus on their venture full time. This includes a base award of $200,000 and bonus awards of up to $200,000 as well. So teams can gain $400,000 in non-dilutive capital, which obviously is very significant. The bonus eligibility includes any entrepreneurs who has a verified residency in a New Jersey Opportunity Zone. You can find the New Jersey Opportunity Zone map on the Innovation Fellows website. Any entrepreneur who self-certifies as a diverse entrepreneur, and any entrepreneurs who graduated from a New Jersey college or university, either 2-year or 4-year. So it's important to note that any team is only eligible for up to $50,000, for the diversity certification and the New Jersey graduate certification. So between the last two here, you can only get $150,000 and then $50,000 in the Opportunity Zone bonus. So just wanted to point that out. All right, so let's move on to the competitive scoring. All right, so this is a competitively scored program, so it's not just a one and done type of thing. So the program uses a 29-point competitive scoring rubric with points allocated across major areas. So this includes the business plan, the operations, and the management team. With 5 points being the maximum for the business plan, 4 points for your operations, and up to 20 points allotted to the strength of the management team. So that's really significant, and this really reflects the reality of early stage entrepreneurship. The founders and their ability to execute are critical factors in the venture success. Your application should make it easy for reviewers to understand not only what your business does, but also why your team is best positioned to execute the opportunity. Great. So let's move on to really the most valuable component of the program, in my opinion. A key driver of the founder success and really the program success is or has been the New Jersey Innovation Fellows Mentorship Program. Really delivered through the New Jersey Innovation Institute, NJII, and Rowan Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship. The mentorship program offers operations training, one-on-one technical instruction, customer discovery, and individual mentoring. Fellows engage directly with subject matter experts on a menu of different areas, with really the goal of giving fellows and really their teams practical knowledge and support across the life cycle of early stage support. So just wanted to shout out some KPIs because I think the fellows are doing great. To date, the fellows have raised over $270,000 in non-dilutive awards. They've raised over $100,000 in external capital and have accumulated over $1 million in LOIs. We also have cohort companies that have done So many different pilots, collectively over 350 pilots completed, 82 jobs created, 23 interns hired. KPIs are really all over, across the board, but this program is great for allowing people to pave their own lane and write their own success stories. So throughout the 2 year duration of the program, fellows are expected to demonstrate ongoing engagement as part of just the general program obligations. So it's really important to understand that if selected, to view the mentorship as really an integral part of the program, not simply an additional part of it. So at this point, I will go ahead and hand it over to Milton, who will guide us through the application process and shed more light on the eligibility requirements.
Good morning, everyone. And thank you, Michelle, for this wonderful program overview thus far. Now we're going to get into the nitty-gritty part of this process, and that's the application itself. So applications for the Cohort 3 of NJIF will be open on September 9th, and the deadline to submit an application will run up until December 4th. So those are two key dates to keep in mind. And again, this date, you'll see it posted on the website, on the NOFA, and in this webinar itself, and the timeline that we'll share later on in the slides. And keep in mind that all the steps on these slides for the application process must be completed before the application deadline. So we'll go through each step individually in detail. Step one, the initial submission. A lot of you folks here that are tuning in might be the main point of contact for your team. So you guys will be the one that gets the application started by submitting that initial application. In the initial application itself, it allows you to add your other team members to the application. And what that means is just sharing their contact, their role, and it really allows them to be part of the application itself. But then comes part two of this, step two, which is the supplemental application. The supplemental application requires each entrepreneur to go in and do an application themselves. So this is a lot of responsibility. It's really a team effort to get this across the finish line. In the past, some folks thought that it's just like that one initial submission and you're done with it. That's not the case. Each individual will go in and add all the eligibility requirements and all their information before step three. Now, step three is when the main point of contact is going to be required to go back to that first initial submission, and then that's when they can say that the package is complete, and they'll be able to submit payment to make this an official submission for the application. Please note that step three also comes with a $250 application fee, and that's also a critical piece for this to be required a complete application. There's instances where some folks may have gone into the application, they filled everything out, and then they missed that final piece of like officially submitting by paying the application fee. So that's a critical step that you don't want to miss. Now, step 3A, which is somewhat relative, is when the NJEDA venture team is going to take a closer look at these applications and ensure that it's complete. There's no missing documents. There's no instances where a document was submitted and it wasn't the one that was requested during the application, and in which case our team will reach out to cure these missing documents. And the way this works is that the applicants will have 5 business days from the date of notification from our team to cure these deficiencies. So if I don't know, like someone didn't submit a resume or some proof of identity or something like that, like they submitted a wrong document, that's the moment where we will reach out and ensure that we collect the right date information. And then that takes us to step 4, and this is just the resubmission part of it. So this one is pretty interesting because once we deem an application complete, the eligible applicants will then will be ranked, and the highest scoring applicants will be presented to the NJEDA board for approval. And following this approval, the primary point of contact for each applicant has to come back and submit all required registration and formation documents for the company. So this is a lot later stage. This is almost when you're at the finish line, like you've gone through the competitive scoring that Michelle talked about, and we've presented you to board. You still have to do these final pieces to register your business and have the official formation documents for your business. And yeah, this is a lot of information. So I think this is one of the most important slides in this presentation. And you can always come back to here and just follow exactly what it says. And it's a good way to walk you through the application itself. Next slide, please. Okay, so in this slide, we're going to talk about the application and eligibility checklist. So we set up this table as easiest way to follow. So that initial application that I talked about for step 1 will all be in that first column of check marks. That's where the main applicant will submit a business plan, the pitch deck, org chart, the targeted industries and eligible municipality. And then when each individual entrepreneur goes back and fills out their portion of the supplemental applications, they'll fill out a little bit more detail about themselves, such as the personal address documentation, resume, NJ gross income taxes paid, the founder equity to ensure that there's equal distribution of equity for the founders. And then one of the more critical parts to be eligible for this program is that at least half of the team has to be a first-time entrepreneur. So there's an instance where there's 3 members on the team, at least 2 of them. This has to be the first company that they're a part of. They're founding. For any repeat entrepreneurs, you're also welcome to apply, but remember that rule that it's at least half of the team has to be first-time entrepreneurs. So that's something that is often overlooked. Some folks may have started a venture way back when, and they wouldn't be eligible for this, especially if like 2 of them were founding members of another company. And then there's also stakeholder bonuses that the entrepreneurs would be eligible for, and we'll go into detail on what those are later on. And of course, the 2-year mentorship commitment that Michelle talked about, which is, I think, one of the most valuable pieces of this program. Next slide. The 30-day registration period. Okay, so once your company is approved and has gone through the whole process of going to board, the applicants are going to be required to register their businesses to the state of New Jersey within 30 days notice of award notification. And this is all like deadlines and timelines that will be communicated with you as we get to those different steps of this process. So what are some of these documents? Some of these documents include the formation and business registration documents, a valid New Jersey tax clearance certificate, which if you're familiar with the NJEDA, these are some documents that are often asked of for different programs. And then there's also a payroll service provider contract that you have to be enrolled with. So this is all something that needs to be done within the 30-day period. Next slide. Okay, so award disbursements and ongoing compliance requirements. When you're all set up to join the NJIF Cohort 3, there's going to be ongoing compliance on a quarterly basis. In order for you to get those disbursements, those payments of your grant award on a quarterly basis, you have to be compliant every quarter. And what that means is that you have to submit the documents here on screen, things like a certified org chart, quarterly and annual financial statements, verification or proof of New Jersey gross income taxes, evidence that you're participating in the mentorship program with NJII and Rowan, and evidence that your business is still within eligible municipality. And this one's pretty interesting because there's instances where companies, they want to relocate for different opportunities or different reasons. And if that's done, this can be done. You can move locations so long as you're within the eligible municipality. So we won't hold you back from that. We just need proof that this is being done and you're still complying within the program. And this is something that is often exercised by companies. It's something that you should always communicate to the product team so we can help guide you through that process. And then lastly, the individual tax filings. And we collect that on an annual basis just to ensure that the funds are used for income replacement reasons and for also for fair distribution of the award to the different team members. Next slide.
Awesome.
So yeah, Michelle is now going to talk about the timeline. Michelle, you'll go into detail into what these different periods are, but just one thing that I want to just bring everyone's attention to is that all these dates on screen are just for planning purposes and are subject to change. And yeah, you can see that on the Q&A period will begin right after this webinar. So Michelle, I'll take it from here.
Yeah. Thanks, Milton. So, a lot of information there, with respect to the application process as well as eligibility. And just wanted to, again, say, please feel free to use the Q&A, either in this chat or send us a question via the inbox. You can even, if you send a question to customer care, a lot of times that gets to us as well. So if you do have a question, just feel free to reach out. I actually want to go back a slide here, a couple slides, because I think that this is also really an important slide. We talked about the application process and everybody gets tripped up there, but this is also the area where people also get really confused by. And so, you have the requirements for your proposed business, and it's always going to be a proposed business because, again, the program only takes business ideas. And so if you're an already formed business, you would not be eligible for this program. That being said, the individual entrepreneurs that are applying have to meet their own separate eligibility requirements as well. And so because, one of the big things that trips people up is this idea of, being a first-time entrepreneur. It's really important that you have two people who are technically first-time entrepreneurs, and we have the definition online on the site, but ensuring that you meet that requirement is really, really important. And then I saw a question in the chat about the equity on the team. That is also a requirement that the founding team have equity in their business, and that's important in the founding company. So again, if you have any questions, just feel free to reach out there. So all right, so talking a little bit about the timeline. Also really, really important to understand. Realistically, we're talking about a timeline that takes 12 to 14 months, 15 months really, between the initial application submission and the start of what would be the mentorship program and the kickoff of any sort of payment. Because of the length of the review and the approval process, applicants really should plan accordingly and should not leave or make any changes to their current employment based on the expectation that they're going to receive this grant. If you are approved, you will be contacted by us directly, and that won't happen until, at minimum June 2027, more or less. With any additional information regarding your approval and next steps in the process, we'll definitely reach out. But please understand that even with conditional approval, that doesn't mean that the mentorship program or the grant awards will begin immediately. The mentorship program and the grant awards are anticipated to begin sometime in August of 2027. Once the program begins, participants will be expected to meet all applicable requirements and comply with the teams and really the terms and conditions of the award. So, thinking about what it looks like if you are approved, you would be expected to begin the program mentorship in November 2027 and continue, really building your venture until, at least for the Innovation Fellows program, November 2029. So really, this is a real long-term commitment here, and it really takes a lot of planning. So we really encourage applicants to remain flexible. The timeline should therefore be viewed as just kind of like a general guideline. Official updates and instructions will be provided directly to applicants as they move through each stage of the process. So talking about the Q&A period and kind of key dates and things to consider. So today kicks off the 14-day business the 14 business day Q&A period. So that begins today, starting at 10 a.m. technically, and ending Wednesday, September 9th at 5 p.m. So during this Q&A period, applicants can submit any sort of questions seeking clarification regarding the program. Anything that is not addressed in the frequently asked questions, those will be updated on the site. Questions should be submitted to New Jersey Innovation Fellows at njeda.gov. Milton or Jasmine, if you could just throw that in the chat for folks, that'd be great. But the FAQs will be updated to incorporate any responses to new questions as they arise. So that's with the Q&A period. So the applications will be open from September 9th through December 4th. There's about $2.5 million in available funding, which gives us flexibility for 6 up to 7 awards potentially. And the anticipated start of the program being November 2027. So there is a $250 non-refundable application fee, and there are no fee waivers for this program. So with that, that's really the end of our presentation, and we hope today's session is really giving you greater clarity around the program, the application process, the evaluation criteria, and the responsibilities that come with being selected as a fellow. As you move forward, please again take advantage of the Q&A period, review the program materials carefully, and reach out to the team if you have any sort of questions. Great. Is Jasmine still here?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, Jasmine. I think we're done. There doesn't seem to be any questions in the chat, unless anybody has questions, comments, concerns.
There's a few questions in the Q&A
Oh, okay.
that you guys, about 27 questions to address.
Oh, okay. Let's go. Let's hit it. Let's go. Chat. Where are the questions? Q&A. There we go. All right. How many grants are given out? We have $2.5 million and availability to do 6 awardees, potentially 7. What constitutes self-certification as a diverse entrepreneur? The self-certification is an online certification you make about your status as a diverse entrepreneur. Please take a look at the FAQs for what is defined as a diverse entrepreneur. I don't have the long legal definition of it, but it's generally women and minorities. Who is the point of contact for questions as we go through the process? Also, how many ventures are selected for the cohort? Myself and Milton are really managing the program. You can send emails to the New Jersey Innovation Fellows inbox, and you will get a direct line to us to answer any questions. Up to 6 awards will be made. 6 awards will be made, up to a 7th may be awarded. Next question. I saw a product mentioned. Do we need to be proposing a physical product to be considered? The product I want to provide is a service. Example, access to specific classes. Example, to specific tools. Technically a product. I know we don't really talk about VCRs and DVDs anymore, but technically there was a time where your product would go on something like that. But services are acceptable.
3, for the next question, what is the minimum number of team members? That'd be 3. But keep in mind that if it is exactly 3, at least 2 of those have to be first-time entrepreneurs. There's been instances where there was teams of 4, and in that case, again, half the team has to be first-time entrepreneurs.
Great, thank you, Milton. What if someone started a venture that never left the incubation period? Will they still be considered previous entrepreneur? Unfortunately, we're not able to really make that determination without looking at the application. However, again, business idea, meaning that there isn't a fully formed business tied to the business idea. What happened here? Oh. Okay. But if you need any further clarification, again, please send that question via the inbox. We also have FAQs online that addresses very specifically. Sorry, Ivani, if I couldn't be a little bit more helpful during the call at least. There's your answer though. Nikhil, first time entrepreneur equals first time incorporating in New Jersey or anywhere in the country in New Jersey. Registered to do business in New Jersey. We have the specific definition online. Please look it up. Are part-time jobs allowed during participation? Up to 20 hours of outside activities are allowed if you are awarded. So it would be working full-time as venture building with the New Jersey Innovation Fellows, and then up to 20 hours for any outside school activities, things like that. Do you require a certain legal entity for formation? No, we do not. Can you clarify New Jersey income tax payment within 60 days of application? Does that mean that proof of income starts by October 4th or by February 4th? And so that is entirely dependent on when you actually submit your application. So it's within 60 business days of you submitting your application, demonstrating that you have paid New Jersey gross income tax. Hope that answers your question. Lucy, is there a theme or focus for this cohort, or can companies be in any sector? For this, for this cohort, it can be any sector. It doesn't have to be AI. It doesn't have to be anything. There's a lot of really great ideas out there, though. And so if you're going to claim to be anything, you want to make a solid representation in your application. Make it make sense. All right, so next one. Um, okay. Um, the company is still very early stage with no business. Would our team still be eligible to apply for the New Jersey Innovation Fellows cohort? Upon receiving the award, we register the company in New Jersey within the required 30-day period. Let's please send this to the inbox and we can address more specific situations. This idea that you're already incorporated elsewhere is technically permissible, so long as you're not registered to do business in New Jersey. Hopefully that answers your question. What if you don't have income yet? I need funding for prototype and limited manufacturing. I finished phase 1 before COVID. I need to get to phase 3. So the question is, what if you don't have any income yet? If you're already registered to do business in New Jersey, you would not be eligible for the program. Next question. Can you be headquartered and operating in New Jersey but incorporated as a Delaware C Corp? Later on when you go for VC funding, want you to be incorporated in Delaware. Can you be headquartered and operating in New Jersey? That you can be, if approved, that's acceptable. That's what we would expect. You incorporate wherever you need to, but that you're headquartered and operating in New Jersey. That's the point. Next. New entrepreneurs means they never created an EIN. For the definite, please take a look at the definition of what is considered a first-time entrepreneur. And that is a person who has not co-founded. I don't have the exact definition. I would actually read that. Maybe Milton, can you just throw it in the chat? The exact definition of a first-time entrepreneur.
Yeah, I'll add that.
Please. I think that would be helpful. If you raise any sort of like series seed round at all, you are not considered a first-time entrepreneur. So having established a business previously doesn't preclude you from being considered a first-time entrepreneur. However, if you have, then that would. Do all team members have to be full-time entrepreneurs, or can some not be full-time? All of them have to be full-time. With New Jersey-based entrepreneurs. I'm not sure that I understand Elizabeth Maticia. Please send your answer or your question to the inbox. Okay. Will we be allowed to apply if our 2026 personal and New Jersey state tax filings conform with the application standards? Tax filings are not accepted for the program. You either are submitting a pay stub or you're submitting a prepayment of your taxes through the New Jersey Division of Taxation. I have a trademark and a logo. Congratulations. Um, I don't know that that's a question, but if you haven't been registered to do business or operating in New Jersey, that's, we're accepting business ideas. We don't want fully functioning businesses because you've flocked the nest for what for what we're looking for innovation fellows, so that's not going to work. Do all three founders need to be New Jersey residents? No, but all three founders do need to have paid their New Jersey gross income taxes within the 60-day window. Very important. How do you have equity in a business that is yet to be started upon application? Wonderful question. I'm glad we're thinking about this because it's a proposed business. It's not an actual business. We're thinking about starting a business, and this is what we're doing, and this is the founder equity, and this is what we would be doing. So hopefully that answers the question. But thank you. All right. Is there a consideration for such a nuance? I moved out of New Jersey for work during COVID, but got granted permission to move back to New Jersey this year. This could complicate the income tax payments as I'd be waiting for a receipt of 2025 income tax receipts. So we can't give out advice on what you should be doing with your income taxes. You do have to go to a CPA or tax professional to assess what's the best thing to do in your situation. We're asking either to submit a pay stub or that you make a prepayment of your New Jersey gross income taxes through the Division of Taxation and then demonstrate to us that you've done that by showing us the receipt. So again, this is in the FAQs. I'm sorry we can't go deeper into that. Avani. If we have registered our company and received funding from family members to develop our tech product, will we be disqualified from the program? We haven't received any revenue as our product is not complete. If you're already registered, you're ineligible for the program. So that's all I'll say there.
She's
Oh, did you
ineligible
want
for ineligible for that specific company, but if she was to
correct.
start like a brand new company, but she'd be a repeat entrepreneur at that stage.
But you'd be a repeat entrepreneur at that point. Exactly. So then you'd have to have two founders that are first-time entrepreneurs. So exactly. And so the way that Milton is thinking about, and obviously you're part of the program, I'm sorry, Milton, but like that's how you would otherwise have to be thinking about how you would potentially, fit into the program is that if you are an entrepreneur already, understanding what the first-time entrepreneur requirement is so that you bring on the right people on your team so that you might still be able to qualify.
And I've added the definition as we view it on into the chat so everyone can take a closer look there for a first-time entrepreneur.
Okay. I also have 1 patent and 3 pending. Congratulations. Very smart. Very great. Actionable. Um, again, back to, I think everybody's still kind of tripped up about what constitutes a first-time entrepreneur. What if we started a business and did nothing with it? That disqualified you from this program? Yes. You can't apply with an already existing business. This has to be a business idea.
Right, you have to be at the ideation stage.
Yeah. What if you were a solo inventor? You would not qualify for this program because you need a team of at least 3 people. Out of 3, how many have to leave the job and can they leave job as soon as they submit? No, please don't do that. So, all 3 people have to be leaving their job. So if you are approved, and this is what I was talking about with the timeline earlier, is that you want to plan ahead, basically. So 3 people have to leave their current jobs to go into full-time venture building. If you submit the application and you don't hear back for 15 months, that would not be great for your bills. And so please do not do that. And so ideally, when you are signing your grant agreement, you should have put 2 weeks notice to your job at that point. But that won't come until November of next year. Hopefully that answers your question. The chat is disabled for at least mine. Oh no, Sumo, I'm sorry. I think the chat is working for everybody else, though. Jasmine, I don't know if you want to look into that. The program states that the entrepreneur leadership team must own more than 50% of the equity in the proposed business. Does this mean that the three entrepreneur leaders can divide ownership equally, for example, 33.3%? Or does each entrepreneur need to have the same percentage ownership? Would a structure such as 40-30-30 also satisfy the major equity requirement? Y'all decide based off of how your operations are going and what the future is. The requirement that they need to have more than 50%. So the thing we don't want to see is that you manage to get, two other people on your team, you give yourself 98% and then you've got your two coders, whatever, 1% and you're not paying and you're trying to pay them, $9 an hour, something like that. That's not equitable and that doesn't necessarily make sense. And so those we'll ask you ahead of time what the ownership percentage will be for the company. Trying to understand, how much everybody's going to get paid and how relative to the grant and then how much the equity ownership is. The questions just keep coming. I love it. Oh, chat's disabled. Oh no.
I think that might be intentional, and I think the Q&A is live. So you have to go to it's like two different locations. There's
Yeah.
a chat and then there's a Q&A box.
Oh, I'm
Yes, all
sorry, guys.
questions that you will address go through the Q&A.
Yeah. All right, cool. Thank you. All right, so next question. If an applicant is eligible at the time of application, can the team continue normal startup activities during the review period, including customer discovery, business development, and paid pilots? Would any of these activities affect eligibility before the award is approved? So if you decide that you want to apply right now because everybody's, eligible and you're in a good space and you're still, working towards your venture, that is great. If you decide to incorporate and start business operations, incorporate, you've got bank accounts, start raising angel rounds, things like that, then you would not be able to qualify for the next round. But actually, we're not having a next round, so you would be disqualified for the program if you decided to register after the fact. Unless you're awarded, then that's fine. Does that answer the question, Milton? Was that clear? Might have been all over the place with that one.
Well, I would say that, I think the company, like, we don't give advice on what's the best route for a company to take. So if you
Yeah.
have a lot of traction going now and there's like opportunities to raise money, like form your business, raise money, there's, an opportunity. We don't weigh in on that. That's totally up to the founder itself. And sometimes, companies that have gone through the first few rounds of this, they opted to go through a different route and they figured, this
Yeah.
program's a great opportunity, but the timing just didn't work. So that's just something that the founders will decide.
Yeah. And I'm sorry guys, because it feels like we're starting to like delve into like individual situations and that's always like really sticky. And so without, actually giving advice. But the point about that question is that if you apply today, and you decide to register tomorrow, that's totally fine. You just wouldn't be able to apply to a future funding round because you're applying with an already established business, and we already established that you cannot apply with an already established business to this program. All right. Next question. So many questions. For the first-time entrepreneur requirement, does an involuntary job separation qualify as leaving employment? And is the 60-day window measured from the last date worked to the application submission date? That's exactly how it works. And we don't define whether it's like an involuntary job separation or a voluntary job separation. The point being about this one requirement is that within 60 business days, I believe it's business days, it might be calendar days, within the 60-day window, you need to demonstrate that you have paid New Jersey gross income taxes. You can either do this with a pay stub dated within 60 days of your date of separation, that paycheck, that date of that paycheck is the thing that we're going to look at. Or again, you can prepay your taxes to the New Jersey Division of Taxation, and that with that pay slip and the proof of payment, we will accept that as well within that 60-day eligibility window. Hopefully that answers your question. Because I feel like a lot of the questions again are going back to the same concept. All right, so registered to business in New Jersey, this would qualify. Unless, so the question is, our startup has already been incorporated as a Delaware C corporation, but is not yet registered to do business in New Jersey. The company is still it's still at a very early stage. Would our team still be eligible to apply to New Jersey Innovation Fellows Cohort 3? Yes, with a brand new entity. And so because you're not registered to do business in New Jersey, key point that you're not registered to do business in New Jersey. But again, you would be applying with a brand new entity. You would be applying with 3 people that qualify under the eligibility requirements. Hopefully that was clear. I'm not going to go into a super long, detailed answer after that, because I don't want to confuse anybody. So hopefully that works. If you have any additional questions, though, again, send it to the chat. Are there defined qualifications for team members? Yes. We have been talking about them the entire time. And so if you want to go back either to that PowerPoint slide that had the eligibility requirements, or you want to look at the program specifications, they're all there as well. And if you have any additional questions, again, feel free to use the Q&A. All right, so with this, I'm just gonna skip all of the meat. Does this team collectively need to own more than 50%, or does each individual entrepreneur need to own a certain percentage? No, not each individual entrepreneur needs to own a certain percentage with regards to the equity requirement. The team collectively needs to own more than 50%. That's the answer to your question. It doesn't have to be equal ownership. We just ask that there's some sort of equitable distribution. Don't, you want to have children not making rags. You know what I mean? You don't want to have paying somebody that's performing 85 hours, a week and paying them $12 an hour. Like things like that don't make sense. And if you are going to try and rationalize that, I don't think that would go well. Anyway. Let me not digress. Unequal ownership. Would a 40-30-30 ownership structure also satisfy the majority requirement? Yes. Even though the 3 entrepreneur, yes. So answer that already. Team of 3 with different entrepreneur experience. Could a business apply? No. With 2 entrepreneur leaders who have previous entrepreneurial experience and 1 first-time entrepreneur? No. That would not work because half the team has to be first-time entrepreneurs. Moving on. All of the founders should be from New Jersey, or one of them only need to be from New Jersey. There is no requirement that they're all from New Jersey. The requirement is that during the eligibility window that you have been subject to New Jersey gross income taxes, and that your paycheck or your 10 the payment to the New Jersey Division of Taxation is within the 60 days. So there's not a New Jersey requirement or anything like that. But again, that has the point being that you prove that you've paid New Jersey gross income taxes during the window. If I applied last time but did not make it, can I apply again? Absolutely. Go ahead and apply. What is the 60-day requirement of current employment? So we talked a lot about this. This seems to be, again, a continuing question. So the 60-day requirement has to do with the New Jersey gross income taxes that need to be paid either at the time of application or within 60 days. Because again, if you're going to be submitting a paycheck saying that you are already gainfully employed and already receiving gross income taxes, we want to see that you've paid the New Jersey gross income tax within 60 days. For people who are like gig workers, we've got the artists, the Ubers, whatever. You're still paying New Jersey gross income taxes, but we're asking you to pay that, or at least demonstrate that you're subject to that and that you're paying your New Jersey gross income taxes within the 60-day eligibility window. Hopefully that answers your question, because I feel like I've been answering this question the same way a lot. If your service is live and generating revenue, does that qualify? If you're registered to do business in New Jersey, you would not qualify. You're already a business. You would be disqualified here. All right, next question. Does the 50% of applicant mean 1 or 2 can be new entrepreneurs, or does it need to be more than 50%? Meaning, I don't understand that question. Please, Please elaborate in the
Yeah, I think yeah. So 50%, as in like if you have three team members, you need to have two that are first time entrepreneurs.
yes. Yes. Thank you, Milton.
And
Uh,
yeah, there's something else in that question, saying if there's only two applicants, you need a minimum of three
we need
applicants.
three. Stop
Three.
playing with the rules. We need three people. All right. Mark. Hi, Mark. Does the eligibility require the team to focus on commercializing university-owned IP compared to launching a traditional business like a restaurant? There is no distinction on what is going to be done during the 24-month period. We are completely agnostic in terms of the industry and recognize that, there are some industries where what, for example, I want to say this because I want to shout out Living and Wellness, which is one of the Cohort 1 owners. She was able to get up and running after the grant and started doing revenues almost immediately because she had a business that she could, launch and do that. It was an IV hydration business, and she's doing tremendously well. Whereas we have other companies that are still in pilot mode, that are still trying to get LOIs, that are raising additional rounds, or raising a round, excuse me. And so everybody's kind of at this different place. And so I think for us, at least, it's kind of interesting to see like where people end up. And really the most unique part about the program is that you're kind of setting your own milestones and again, telling the story of your own success. So thank you, Mark, for allowing me to answer that question so eloquently. Next question. What if the business is registered, but there has been no activity because the founders were not able to give their full time? If you're already registered, you would not be eligible for the program. Next question. Oh, okay. This is a lot. Hold on. Uh, we've got a lot going on here. This is a little bit of a longer one. And I know we only have a couple minutes left to address like a whole bunch of questions. Um, if my business is physically located in Knowledge Valley, but does that actually qualify us as a, okay, yeah. That's a very specific question. Please send that to the inbox, please. I'm sorry, I can't answer your question fully right now. I currently own and operate a mental health counseling practice in New Jersey. However, the new business would be my first technology startup, and I have never received angel venture capital or private equity funding. Would I still qualify as first-time entrepreneur under the Fellows program? It sounds like you might. However, again, you're not applying with your existing business. You would be applying as a new entrepreneur for a brand new startup. So hopefully that simplifies things. If I've paid taxes from work, not from invention. I'm sorry, Hugh, I don't understand. Next question. Mark, another question. What qualifies as innovation for this NJEDA Innovation Fellows program? Are AI-based innovations or deep tech innovations more highly considered? Tricky, Mark. Why would you ask that question? Like, we can't answer those types of questions. We just ask that every single applicant present their best, put your best foot forward as to why you're taking advantage of this opportunity right now and over the next 3 years, how you're going to get there. Because what we're looking at is, are you making a sound business case? And are the steps that you're taking over the next 12 to 15 months and then 2 years after, right? So this is 3 years of planning. What does your 3 year, 4 year plan look like? I don't know. Only one can tell. All right. Hopefully that was a good enough answer for you, Mark. Yes, Queen, serving answers on these questions. You're welcome. Can you explain more about the bonus and for diverse organization? So the bonus, there's three bonuses. One related to whether you're located in an opportunity zone, which if you're familiar with those are literally designated blocks on your corners that are federally designated. The bonus criteria related to whether you're a diverse entrepreneur has to do whether you're a female or a minority. Uh, the exact definition is online, but it is a self-certification that you make online about your if you qualify. So it's a self-certification. The business itself doesn't have to be certified as like a minority business unless you want to. But that would be after you apply, not before, because again, you're looking at this as I'm submitting my business application for potentially starting. What you do after you apply is entirely up to you, Queen. All right, moving on. Do all founders need to be New Jersey resident? Nope, just please pay your taxes within the eligibility window, 60 days. Next, given that the process will take 15 months, do you recommend we don't start our business until we hear if we've been selected? Meaning, will we be disqualified if we incorporate before notice or whether we get in? So, Suma, great question. So, we had $10 million to basically start with. We have $2.5 million left. This is going to be our last round of funding. And so previously, the way we've answered that question is if you've applied and decided to register, that's entirely fine. You just can't register with that business in the next funding round. We're not going to have any more money after this. And so if somebody wants to petition a politician for more money, that's great. But this is all we got in terms of funding. And so if you decide to incorporate after you apply, that's entirely on you. It's not like we're going to have another funding round or maybe potentially in the future. I don't know. That's in the hands of the government gods. Hopefully that answers.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm
How old
open.
can your venture be again at the ideation stage? The business can't be formed or registered yet.
Yeah. But there's so, and I guess I just want to clarify too, because I think people are
Mhm.
confused. They're like, oh, well, I've done like customer discovery or I've, like done a whole bunch of research and things like that. Like, yes, that's what ideation is. If, when you're starting like an angel round, you're starting to raise money from family and friends, then, that gets a little bit tricky in terms of the first time entrepreneur requirement. But again, we're accepting business ideas. What percentage of funding should go to salaries? All of it. This is an income replacement grant, and so you can't use this money for anything like land purchases, hiring even other interns, things like that. It's strictly for the three entrepreneurs or for whatever, how many people that are going to be benefiting from the grant. Three is the absolute minimum. Um, Income replacement versus startup expenses. Startup expenses are not eligible. This is strictly an income replacement grant. Salaries, your paycheck, money to your pocket to pay your bills. Timing and use of award. Since the award is dispersed quarterly, is the money paid as income replacement regardless of the company's revenue, or do entrepreneurs have to submit invoices or receipts for business expenses before? There's no such thing as business expenses here. It's all salary. And so we would expect to see like in the bank account, for example, like a deposit of the grant and the salary is coming out. And that's literally it. That's it. Um, Employment and school requirement. The program states that the entrepreneur leaders must devote a certain amount of time to the venture and cannot spend more than 20 hours. Does the 20-hour minimum still apply? The 20-hour minimum still applies for anything. You can't do anything other than work on your venture full time, and anything outside of that would be 20-hour maximum. Every quarter, you're basically certifying that this is what you're doing basically with the program. All right. Next, oh my gosh, another very long question. All right, it's 12 o'clock right now. Jasmine, should we just answer the rest of the questions here? And for the purpose of at least the video, we have like bookmarks and things like that, or do you recommend that we take the rest of this offline?
How many additional questions do you have?
We got like a handful. Hold on, let's see. One, we got Esther Nelson, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine,
We
10,
can we
11.
we can quickly cut it off right now because the last question that came through is at 12 p.m. Maybe
12
we
o'clock. Yeah,
go
this
through
will
them
be the
quickly.
last one.
So,
Okay.
Lay, you just asked the last question. Anything after that? I think people should submit to the inbox.
Okay. Oh dang, I lost my place. Um,
You were at timestamp 11:38,
38. All right, cool.
Esther Nelson.
Hybrid mentorship schedule. What does the hybrid mentorship schedule look like for previous Innovation Fellows cohorts? How often are participants required to attend in person? Great question. So the way that it's broken down is that there's some classes that are synchro, so and asynchronous. So some are in person, some are online. Most of them are online though. So that allows you to kind of be anywhere. We do ask that on a quarterly basis, you're meeting with your mentor in person though. So it's not like you can completely duck us. You still have to like be able to connect with us. And the mentorship program, most importantly, because those are the individuals who are really going to be keeping track of your progress and reporting back to us. So it's just kind of like a mixture of things. We have a kickoff meeting in the very beginning that we do request everybody comes to. Just, for camaraderie and things like that. So, very rarely do we ever make anything like forcing people to be in person. We understand situations fluctuate. Locations and attendance flexibility. For entrepreneurs who live in South Jersey, would it be possible to attend required in-person mentorship sessions at location? Absolutely. Such as Rowan or NJIT. That's absolutely flexible. So application question and target municipality. If the application asks us to identify a targeted municipality, what exactly should we use to determine that municipality? I don't understand that. Is it based on where the company will be located, where the entrepreneur lives, where the customers are located? Oh, I see. Where the economic activity will take place. That's entirely up to you guys. You could have either a physical location within the municipality. It could be that one of your entrepreneurs lives in the eligible municipality, so it could be like an at-home business type of situation. We do accept virtual offices as well in one of the eligible municipalities, but not to miss the fact that you do have to be in an eligible municipality. Notwithstanding that. Uh, AI industry requirement. There is no AI industry requirement for the cohort. Does our proposed solution need to improve efficiency? Da, da, da. So that was a requirement for the previous cohort, but that's not requirement this time around. Our board memo is a little bit you may be able it's a little bit confusing, not gonna lie. But we made updates to the program during that board memo. And so that's why I think it looks a little bit confusing. But clarification is that you don't need to use AI during this cohort to be able to succeed. Though again, you're going to be applying against a lot of other people that are going to be, very innovative. And so if you're not going to use AI, you better be making pigs fly, basically. Figure it out. Um, let's see. If the entrepreneur team owns more than 50% collectively, can the three entrepreneur leaders own the company equally at approximately 33% each? I think we answered this question already. 33% works. Less than that works as long as the three collectively have at least 50%. We're good. So if I submit the application on October 15th, I have to be employed at least up to August 16th. Is that right? I am not doing math in this
That
presentation.
is, yeah, that is 60 days
So
within
it
the
would be
application.
if that is 60 days that you calculated, though for disclosure purposes, we have to look at it and during your submission to fully make that assessment. In any case, y'all, if you have any questions about your pay stub, you can always submit a prepayment to the New Jersey Division of Taxation. Prepaying your taxes exactly when you submit your application, and there would be no question about the dates. Just saying. So hopefully that helps, Nod. But if you do have an additional question, again, please use the Q&A, the inbox rather. If you were a previous NJEDA employee, are you disqualified from applying? Crystal, I don't know where you're at, but congratulations on your next endeavor. If you were a current EDA employee, you would not be able to. I don't think ex-NJEDA employees are disqualified, but I'd have to get back to you. I'm not sure. Um, I am self-employed and do not receive traditional employee pay stubs. For the Innovation Fellows application, can I submit my most recent individual federal tax return, Form 2040, instead of pay stubs? If so, do you need to complete tax return with all schedules? We don't use federal tax return, no. State tax return, no. So if you're submitting your 1040, it would be whatever payment you're making to the New Jersey Division of Taxation. So whatever form you're submitting, you would have to submit the payment that you made as well. Because you just prepay it and that's it. Hopefully that answers it, Esther. I'm sorry if that's not clear. All right. This is what
Says,
you're. Oh,
yeah. Are you gonna address Suma?
where's Sumo? Did I skip Sumo? This is what you wrote in the table. Two first-time entrepreneurs, 33, 33.
Yeah, so I wanted to just flag that. Yeah, I believe that might be a slight typo on that table. It
Oh,
wasn't like it's not specific 20%, and I think maybe now that this question came through, I'm thinking people thought it's a specific ratio, and I
oh.
think we meant to put 33 across all the columns. So what's really a red flag is what Michelle mentioned was like if there's a split like 98% and 1% for the other entrepreneurs. See how it's 20% on the third entrepreneur?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to be 20% specifically.
Yeah, no,
That
it can be anything you want. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was just for example purposes, and it's not, it should sum up to at least 50% collectively between
Yes,
the entrepreneurs.
exactly. Do the founders have to be employed? What if the founders are self-employed? You can be self-employed. What we care about is that you pay your New Jersey gross income taxes at the time of application or within 60 days. Hopefully that answers that question. So if you're self-employed, then if you don't have a pay stub, you'd have to submit that form as well as the proof of payment. So we shouldn't incorporate our company until after we apply. Correct. Correct. Suma in terms of equity split. All right. So next question is, all right, another a little bit very long and specific one. Would she still qualify as a first-time entrepreneur? It depends on where the company landed. So this is a question about somebody who has already been registered, but didn't do anything with that company. If you apply with the already registered business, you will be declined for this program because we accept business ideas. If you're submitting a business idea, is because you're submitting a business idea for a brand new business with these three individuals that have this much equity that are dedicated to, this program for over the next 2 years. Um, Already established businesses are you just don't qualify if you're going to apply with that. So it has to be something brand new. Um, would the existence of a previously registered company but completely inactive company affect my eligibility or the eligibility of our three-person entrepreneur team, given that we are applying with the new startup and not the previous company? So if you apply with the new idea, new startup, that's entirely okay. It depends on whether if the three people that you're going to go in business with are not considered first time entrepreneurs, then that's when it would be a problem. You would have to mix up your team to make sure that you get two first time entrepreneurs on your team. Based off of what you said here, if you haven't raised any money like an angel round or a seed round, I think you'll be fine. But again, those determinations cannot be made until you actually apply. But maybe doesn't sound like. Um, Hopefully that answers it. Okay, another one. Oh my gosh. Can you please clarify the 60-day employment requirement for first-time entrepreneurs? It's not an employment requirement. It's a 60-day requirement that you pay your New Jersey gross income taxes at the time of application or within 60 days. Does the rule mean that an entrepreneur may not leave their current employment more than 60 days? No, it's not. It's not that. Um, uh, Provided that they leave before the final approval award or the acquired. Do not leave your jobs unless you have an actual grant agreement about to sign in front of you. Do not leave your job. What you're doing with this application is that you are applying to this with a proposed business saying that within the last 60 days, I was gainfully employed in some way, subject to New Jersey gross income taxes. I'm submitting my payment or my proof, and you're letting this, plane fly basically and see where it kind of lands. because then you're going to be scored and all that. But anyway, the requirement isn't that you leave your job at the time of application submission, where it's a little bit different than that. So we can talk a little bit more about that with any, send a question to the inbox. I just don't want people to be confused with thinking that they need to leave their jobs as soon as they apply. That's not the case, and please don't do that. What you're demonstrating is that are subject to New Jersey gross income taxes at the time of application, and you've submitted either a payment of those New Jersey gross income taxes at the time of application or within 60 days. That's what counts. All right, another question. If one of the entrepreneurs on a potential team is currently receiving training related income, ABT, ABE, training related income, they are concerned about whether participation in the NJIF or receipt of the program related support could affect their tax treatment, including potential New Jersey gross income tax implications or otherwise affect how they should evaluate participation. Sorry, I literally cannot answer that. Please talk to a CPA, sorry. All right, next question. I know you mentioned that you have to quit your job for this qualification. So what are my chances if I quit my job to get qualified? And also, what's the waiting period to get qualified? Because if I quit my job, please don't quit your job. Do not quit your job. Literally, if you haven't been contacted by us, literally to say that you're about to receive this award, we've sent you to board and they approved it and you went through the process, and a grant agreement needs to be signed for you to be able to quit your job. Please do not do that. Hopefully that answers your question. It's if we want to, all right, so let me put this back here. This is we're having this conversation right now, but this is a 3-year journey for all of you that decide to apply. It's the waiting period between applying and getting notified, and then the 2 years afterwards. And so if you plan on quitting your job, maybe you can do that a year from now, but again, not advisable. Can entrepreneurs be unemployed currently? If you're not subject to New Jersey gross income taxes, I don't know how you would prove that you're subject to New Jersey gross income taxes, and so no, you would not qualify if you're unemployed. Again, you have to demonstrate that you're coming from some sort of employment, something that is subject to New Jersey gross income taxes, and that you're paying them at the time of application or within 60 days. Hopefully that answers your question, Lee. Esther, for each minority person from diversity bonus, can you get it for each person that is African American? Yes, up to $150,000. The bonuses work for the diversity and education bonuses work for up to $150,000, and then you can get $50,000 if any one of these entrepreneurs is in an opportunity zone. All right. Alternatively, if there are the three entrepreneur leaders, could the entrepreneur with the existing business hold 50% of the new venture, while the two entrepreneurs who are developing the new venture hold together 25% each? Would either of these ownership structures satisfy if there are three entrepreneurs, with the existing business, so you're saying that you're applying with an existing business, that would not qualify here. You're saying, though, that if you're maybe spinning something out, maybe, and you want to hold 50%, and that you have two other founders you're trying to do 25%, that's acceptable. We do not care how you break down the equity distribution. Yeah, it just has to be collectively at least 50%. So hopefully that answers your question. If we have any questions about your application, there is a cure period, a 5 business day cure period. So we will reach out to you if we do have any clarifications to make. Can entrepreneurs be unemployed currently? No. The last question being clarity, is it more about will you be considered first time in that scenario? I guess we're going back. There was like one question we didn't answer, and I feel because it was like super, super long. Kind of want to go back to it. Those are all of the questions though. hopefully everybody again took note of what the inbox is, the New Jersey Innovation Fellows inbox is. And just feel free to send any questions to that inbox, and you'll get myself and Milton directly there. So sorry to anybody whose question I wasn't able to answer. But again, this is exactly what the Q&A period is for, and so we'll just be trying to get back to you as basically as quick as possible. So with that, may the best application win, and may the odds quite literally be ever in your favor. We're rooting literally for every single one of you, and appreciate your interest in the program.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Michelle. I think that sums it up. I think you did a great job answering nearly 100 questions. That's
Was
what
it, is that
numbers
how
show.
many I was trying to put?
75, but rounding up. I think we it was a lot of questions that honestly, hopefully everyone found it helpful. If there's anything specific to your situation, reach out to the inbox, and we'll be in touch. All right, Jasmine, I think we can wrap this up.
All right. Thank you all for joining today's session and have a great day.
Thanks, everyone.